What do you see as your main challenges facing you with the order as you take it forward, and what would you like to achieve in your time as Chief Executive of the St John of God's?
Well, I think the first thing, Orla, the order has to, as a movement, it must have irrelevance in today's world. I would have a vision that we provide a unique service that's of the highest quality that isn't available elsewhere. And I think that's the call that's on us all.
I think the original St John of God, and you might tell us a little bit about his story, but I believe he had mental health issues himself back in the 1600s, and he was probably one of the firsts to actually realise the importance of treating this in a separate and distinct way from any other health issue.
Yeah, well, John of God he was an extraordinary man. He was actually born in Portugal, in a town called Montemorenova, and he had a strange history. He was a shepherd, he was a soldier, he was a bookseller, and it was as a bookseller he travelled into the city of Granada, and while he was listening to a public sermon, he had a mental breakdown, and he was incarcerated in the Royal Hospital in Granada. And as he witnessed the brutality that was administered at that time to the patients, he decided that he was going to set up his own organisation. And that's really the origins of it. He was an incredible, heroic man. And I suppose what strikes me today is that the countless numbers of our employees who are not members of a religious congregation continue to be inspired by his vision, his mission. He was a great risk taker, and in fact he jumped into the Darrow River in Granada to save a young boy who was drowning. And the significance of that for this area is that the Darrow Centre on the North Road in Drogheda is actually called after the Darrow River. So I think it's for each of us to continue to be inspired by his vision, by his mission, and by his risk-taking philosophy.
That's a lovely story, and you mentioned the Darrow River, and I've actually seen it in Granada, and it's a very big, fast-flowing river. It's very similar to the Boyne River here, and you know that there is a whole mental health issue around the Boyne, and people actually threatening to go into the Boyne. So there's a very funny connection there, isn't there? And it's that whole thing of being aware of people at their greatest hour of need, isn't it?
That's right, and certainly we will see it in our mental health services, the incredible increase demand there is on the service, and we're just not able to cope. And it's all obviously got to do with recession, people who just cannot cope with the situation they find themselves in now. But I think it's up to us to be resilient, to be resourceful, and to look at creative ways of providing services.
Finally, John Pepper, you've talked about sort of contracting services, obviously, and contracting staff numbers. Do you see any growth opportunities for you in your time as CEO of the John of God's? Do you see any new houses opening, new centres? Would you like to see that occurring?
Oh, certainly. It would be our intention that we will buy into the government philosophy of decongregating large areas or large centres like Drumcar, and we would certainly see us continuing to move into the community.
This is a completely left of field question for you. Who do you see as the new Louth manager? I know you're a GAA man, you must have a view.
Well, far be it from me, Orla, to advise the county board, but I wouldn't go beyond the names that are in the public domain. Eugene Judge from Drogheda, Peter McDonald from Armagh, and of course Colin Kelly, who has done exceptionally well with the Louth Under 21 team. So I think it could be possibly any of those three, any of which would do an excellent job.
All right, John Pepper, the Chief Executive with St John of God's Hospitaller Services, thanks indeed for joining us today on LMFM.
Thanks, Orla.